Welcome to Empowerment Radio. My name is Dr. Friedemann, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. Empowerment Radio is about giving you the insights, tools, and solutions to address some of the most challenging aspects of our daily lives. So sit back, relax, and empower yourself. Welcome to Empowerment Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's still the beginning of the year, right? And some of you may have already celebrated the year as an exciting one. And some of you may have already felt like, oh my God, another mountain to climb. This is so hard. And some of you may have just still been in this mode of wondering, so what this year will be about. Will it be about change? Will it be about something new? Will it be about same story again? And will I reach certain life changes and maybe resolutions or goals that I have set myself? Now, I know this whole New Year's resolutions topic may feel like an old shoe, because most people tell you, well, you do New Year's resolutions, you tell yourself you're gonna quit smoking, you're gonna eat less, you're gonna get fit, spend less time on social media, spend more time with family, learn another language, you name it. But after about 30 to 60 days, all of those New Year's resolutions are forgotten, and you just go back into your old routines, and you may feel a little bit disappointed or worse about yourself. But again, you're in good company, because most people do that. And so in the end, I feel a lot of people, including, by the way, Mark Zuckerberg, give up on New Year's resolutions. Don't want to do it anymore. My resolution is to not have one. Well, it's not really about the New Year resolution, really, that we are talking about today. We are talking about the resolution to make changes in your life that create more happiness, that give you a greater sense of well-being, and to also maybe create more purpose in your life. And that doesn't start at the 1st of January to have those resolutions. You can do this on the 16th of January. You can have this on the 1st of March. And you can learn today from an expert that I have invited to the show on how to make sure that you actually get there. That at the end of this year or the end of a year of following through, you can look back and you can tell yourself, awesome, I really am able to make changes. I really am able to get myself, my lifestyle, whatever it is what I'm focusing on, to that level that I wanted it to have. So are you ready for that? Well, my expert today that I invited is called Jaya Jaya Myra. She is a wellness and lifestyle expert, and certainly a go-to media expert when it comes to mind-body wellness, stress management, mindfulness, food for mood, natural, healthy living, and so on. She is the author of Vibrational Healing, Attain Balance and Wholeness. There is a new book coming out in October that we're going to talk about, which is about purpose and the soul of purpose, it's called. She is a motivational speaker. She has a fascinating TEDx talk, and has certainly a lot to share on the topic on how to make goals and how to make resolutions actually work for you, rather than creating them as another reason to feel disappointed in yourself. So thank you so much, Myra, for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's always a joy to be talking with you.
Well, so I wanted just to go quickly back to this TEDx talk that I mentioned, because I think it explains a little bit how you came into the field of wellness and healing, and also purpose and happiness. And because this is not necessarily how you set out your life to be originally, but your journey is a fascinating one. So yeah, share a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So last year, well, a little over a year ago now, I had the opportunity to give a TEDx talk, and
Hmm.
the topic was, "Is purpose the key to health and wellness?"
I
So
love that topic. It's really
it,
great.
it's so important too, because a lot of people don't understand the intrinsic connections between living your purpose, being happy, and how this actually affects your physical, mental, and emotional health and well-being. I mean, even science now knows the direct connections between purpose and better health, but I think it's something that we still have to catch up with, because we think about physical health and well-being being about, like, oh, if you get sick, take this medication, or oh, go and exercise, have a fitness routine. But there's really so much about your mental and emotional well-being, and the importance that all of that plays into your physical health.
Well, and you had your own journey there, right? I mean, you actually healed yourself from
Yes,
something a lot of people say you cannot really get well from.
that's very true. When I was in my mid 20s, I was diagnosed with really debilitating fibromyalgia, and it caused me to lose everything in my life. I ended up divorced. My home was foreclosed on. I had to declare bankruptcy. I didn't even have anywhere to stay at the time. It was a horrible situation for me. And then the icing on that cake was that Western medicine not only didn't make me better, it made me worse. So I was forced to find ways to heal myself naturally, because nothing that doctors tried was effective for me. And I was successful. It took a couple of years to get to a place of being fully better, and a lot of trial and error, but I did get better. And a lot of that was on a platform of meditation, like just
Mm,
adapting, having a daily meditation routine, then making like dietary changes, and really changing my life around to be more in alignment with my purpose. No longer doing things that I didn't want to do. I was working as a research scientist because I've always wanted to help people be well. And of course, you either do that through science or medicine, right? So that's what I thought as a kid, at least. But I'm very grateful now that my childhood aspiration was to help people get better. And that's exactly the path that I've been led on. It wasn't through the conventional means
mm.
that I thought, but in helping people understand how, if you really work to support your mental health and your emotional health, and you live your purpose, your physical health is going to be a part of that. And you are much more apt to stay healthy.
Well, that is really, in some ways parallel to my story of helping people no longer in the conventional way that I thought of as a physician, and certainly help people more on the mental emotional level. But I'm wondering if looking back with fibromyalgia, and I know a lot of the listeners at least know someone who has that, and with that goes often also that burnout or feeling low energy in general. And do you see there is a connection to your mental emotional state when you had the onset of that illness, and now that you look back on your journey, was resolving whatever mentally emotionally may have been a part of the fibromyalgia also a part of your healing journey?
I think so, definitely. For me, I know that there was things that had happened earlier in my life, abuse that had happened, sexual abuse that had happened, that definitely contributed to it from for me. Like, it just kind of popped up down the road on a physical level. But also, I was not happy at all with what I was doing in my career as a scientist, because I was forced to do animal testing, and I
Oh.
never understood why you test on animals. Like, you kill a living creature to try to make another creature well, like that. It just kind of metaphysically, spiritually didn't make any sense to me. And it became a huge issue and conflict of interest for me. So I didn't see any way out of it at the time. And I think, like, being in that mental state, just it kept going down and down and down and down until eventually I couldn't cope with it anymore. And I think that's really what brought on the disease, what made the disease able to manifest itself at that time. So being disabled and essentially having my whole life destroyed, I found a way to have other options for myself. I mean, it took literally hitting rock bottom and having everything taken away for me to make the changes in my life that I needed.
Well, and I think that's sometimes the deeper meaning of illness, that it really makes
Yeah,
us realize of the inner conflicts that we're living in, or it makes us
absolutely.
realize that we have to make a course correction whether we are willingly doing so or not. And the more we resist it, the more I think this inner resistance that leads to illness is showing up for us. And looking back, you probably feel like, well, even though it was hard, it was also getting you to that place of purpose that you're now in, right?
Oh, absolutely. I don't ever regret anything difficult happening in my life. I don't regret the situations that I've been put in or what I've had to experience because I think it's all made me who I am. And the greater difficulties that you face, you cultivate more strength to be able to push forward and carry through, and I think be more successful. I think the most successful people in the world are the ones who have had difficulties to overcome and push through it and move forward.
Very well said. And I'm glad that you bring up also how kind of the resistance to making the change at that time for you brought up, the illness. And
Yeah.
that is what New Year's resolutions or any kind of resolutions to make changes can really prevent you from happening. Just to already look at what's not working in my life. It doesn't have to be that like in your case, everything has to be turned upside down. In order to prevent this, we can already look at the small things, those things that really can make an impact on our well-being and our overall happiness, and focus on those to change. Do you have any New Year's resolutions in this
Uh,
regard?
I do, but there are also things that I was doing last year that I'm carrying forward into this year and maybe just amplifying a bit. So it's not like none of my resolutions are things that I'm starting from scratch. I think if I pick New Year's resolutions where I'm starting from scratch, it would be much more difficult to attain them and to stick with them because it takes a lot of mental and emotional energy and even physical energy to stick with a goal. So for me, I've committed to walking at least 10,000 steps a day. Well, I was already getting 6 to 8,000 steps a day at least before, so this is just like taking that up a notch more. Doing a minute of plank pose a day, simple things that I can actually stick with and know that I'm going to be successful with. And they're
Yeah.
things that I enjoy. I enjoy going for daily walks. That's very important for my mental well-being and my peace of mind. So it's a habit that I've already cultivated. It's something that makes me happy, and I think that that's a huge key to being successful is make a resolution that is something that you enjoy doing. Because most of the time we make resolutions for things we've never been able to accomplish and don't want to do. That's never going to be successful for you. It's like there's a reason you haven't been successful with it before. Pick something that you want to do, that you're good at, that makes you happy. If you can prioritize those things, you'll be much more successful doing the things that you like doing a lot less.
Well, I think that's one of the keys for sure to make goal setting in general
Mhm.
work out, that you focus more on what's in it for you than on the problem that you feel like you have to fix, or that what's not right with you that you have to change. But we'll talk more about it right after the break. And I'm also very interested in just figuring out how to get this energy of motivation going. I read an article that you wrote about low energy output versus high energy output.
Mhm.
And we'll talk more about how that can be useful in New Year's resolutions and making them successful after the break. Stay tuned.